And I'd been drilled that if you let boys break your leg, as they were calling it, you know, that will be the end of you. Yeah. So if you are pursuing, I was very, very focused on my pursuit. And I believe my classmates were, not just me.
You never truly know people until you take the time out to get to know people. This story is powerful. I don't want to rush it because there's such value we're getting from every aspect of the story and understanding. Where we've got to, Martha, you've gotten into A-levels. Yeah. First and foremost, you're so clever because, and I love your thought process. By the time you are understanding, I'm not going to concentrate on what I'm weak at, maths. I'm just going to focus on what I'm good at. And this, because this is the goal that I'm trying to get to in terms of entering A-levels so that I can study, become a judge, magistrate at that, judge at that time. My question, there's something you said before we touch on this A-levels. You said that a lot of girls were not going into A-levels. Why is that?
Let me say a lot of students were not going to A-level. Most people opted to work, to go to work. Remember, the workforce was not enough. There was no joblessness that time. The government was headhunting for personnel. And I want you to know that after sitting for my Kenya Junior Secondary, I have a certificate in my pocket. So when I finish Form 4, I'm employed as an untrained teacher with my Kenya Junior certificate because the Form 4 certificate has not come out.
Wow.
And I am employed with others who have Form 4 certificates. And it's the chief announcing in church, in the local church, that anybody who has attained this, go to Kirwea tomorrow on Monday. They are looking for teachers. We converge Kirwea like a small Kamukunji of 1,000 people, and we all get employed and posted in various schools in Kirinyaga. So I taught as an untrained teacher for 3 months after Form 4 while waiting to join Nairobi Girls because A-levels would be joined in May. You see? And I was paid as a Form 2, as a Kenya Junior. But when the A-level results, the O-level results came, I was paid arrears. The interesting part of this arrears is that I'm already in Nairobi Girls, settled in school, and the ministry is paying arrears. My father, who was a teacher, goes to the DC because the DC is the pay point. Even teachers who used to receive cash would receive it from the DC. My father goes and says identifies himself as my father, and he collects the arrears on my behalf and signs for it. Those days, deceit and fraudulent ways had not become a way of life. People were honest. Therefore, there is no question that a man who is not my father will go to collect my money. Plus, they knew him, and they have no fear that I will come and say I did not send him. Those were the days where a headmaster could collect the payroll for the entire school and it's in cash. Go with it with his bicycle, and he's signing against the name, and you give each teacher their lot. Today, a person collects for you. Even a parent might run away with your money.
It's happening.
So my father brought to Nairobi Girls 600 shillings. And 600 was so much in 75. When she left, it was like 685. When she left it to me, I was itching for the outing. When the outing came, I descended on Nairobi. We went with a friend of mine who knew Nairobi better than me, and I bought clothes at Tubman Street. I bought nice dresses. You know, I bought a skirt and a shirt, and I bought on Rudhuri Avenue a Timex watch which was bigger than my hand.
Rolex
for 200 Timex, which was bigger than my hand. It did not occur to me that I could send even back 50 bob for my folks.
You
know, I didn't think of sharing some with even my father who had brought. I enjoyed my money. I had enjoyed my monthly pay, which was 275 shillings. We would go shopping with my brother. I took him to Embu, bought him trousers and shoes, bought myself shoes, bought myself a skirt. I never even took a kilo of sugar home. I mean, I think about it now. You know, those things didn't enter, but maybe because my parents weren't exactly struggling. But I want the youth of today to know that my contemporaries, joblessness had not descended on the country.
People were so the demand for talent was so high
much that they are announcing in local places, in churches, and there is demand for jobs. So even parents will be pushing you. Actually, my father was saying that if some students would go after doing Kenya Junior Secondary into teachers training college. But for me, because I was doing well, I continued with education. And after Form 4, I now want to go to ALevels. You see?
Yes.
So I go to ALevels, I go to Nairobi Girls.
Let me just stop you here a bit. Just, you know this thing that they say, soma, soma, soma.
Yeah.
Vijana, soma, utapata kazi. This whole, I don't want to call it a myth, it was actually a reality.
It was a reality.
It was a reality.
And the song went that education is the key to good things in life. So I was going to get the good things in life. And you are envisaging having a big house, having a car, having good things. I remember me and another girl called Gichugu saying that we shall be wearing earrings. Earrings were a novelty. It's not like now every little kid has pierced ears.
Yes, including
we promised
our camera guy.
that we'll have pierced ears, we'll pierce our ears, and we will wear earrings, and we will wear high shoes. Although my mother bought me stilettos when I was in 77 at Kirogoya Bata shop.
The memory still sticks.
Yeah, you know, that was a very significant thing. Being bought high heels, as we were calling them. Boy, that was not a joke.
But this, I mean, these days you have, first and foremost, these are jobs. You could get a job after finishing second class Form 2.
Education has not, your certificate for O-levels has not come, and I'm already an untrained teacher.
Paid.
By the way, I was teaching English and Kiswahili, and I knew very little Swahili. Because all you have to do with the lower classes, because I was a lower class teacher, kuwauliza tu na hiki ni kitu gani, you are pointing with your stick at the table. MPESA, hiki ni kitu gani? Very simple things. You yourself know very little Swahili. Yeah. But English, I was okay. I was a good English teacher.
Okay. You come to, this is a big transition. Yeah. First and foremost, you're leaving your family.
Yeah.
Granted, in boarding, you are not with them, but you're with your sister. You're leaving the area in which you live.
I'm going
you're leaving the
far.
Province.
I am going far.
You're coming to the New York of Africa.
Oh, Nairobi.
Nairobi, Siri.
So we decided.
What other town? Actually, before that, was Murang'a?
I had gone to Murang'a.
But was it townish?
It was like a very small, dusty town with very few shops. But Murang'a was bigger than Kirogoya. And there was an Asian shop when I was young. Were they called Batia? I can't remember the name. He was, I think, nicknamed Batia. There was an Asian shop in Murang'a where my mother used to come and restock for her shop in Kimunye. So my father would drive us to Murang'a. And on one occasion, we went with my younger brother. My brother who follows me is called Mwangi. And my mother bought both me and Mwangi shorts, each a pair of shorts. That's the first time I wore shorts. And I really loved it.
Yeah, you remembered wearing shorts?
But that was the first time ever I wore shorts, just like my brother. And we were both bought red shorts. I know now they were corduroy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was. Yeah.
We're coming, the thing about CT is just, I take nuggets from what you're speaking.
Yeah.
You've talked about Asians, in particular Indians.
Yeah, Indians.
For context, explain to people the history of Indians coming to Kenya. Let's take a pause on your story. Let's explain how did this tribe, I think they're called the 54th tribe or the 44th tribe, yes.
Yeah, Indians came to Kenya to build the railway. They came as manpower for building the railway because in India already they had built a railway network. So these were personnel with the know-how.
Pre-SGR.
This is the very first railway.
Yes.
Before I was even born, because we read about it. This is around 1901, before even my parents were born.
Yes.
So some of them never went back to India, settled and adopted Kenya as their country.
Yes.
So after independence, they are filtering into the inner towns. And in Murang'a, there was a shopkeeper, an Asian. And eventually, there were shopkeepers almost in every town. Even Kirinyaga,
yes,
was the Patels and the Shahs. In fact, I went to school with Ira Patel and Vipa Shah in the boarding school. I remember their names because they were a novelty, just two of them in our 2 streams of Form 4. And I'm very happy to say that this year I met Vipa, who identified me from the media. They both live in London.
Yes.
That's where they settled. So we were able to reunite this year, and I was very happy. Yeah.
Okay. You come to Nairobi City. Let's now enter into Moi Girls.
Yes, it was Nairobi Girls. There was no Moi in it.
Oh, it was Nairobi Girls at the time?
It was simple Nairobi Girls school.
Were there other Kenya High
there was Kenya High, there was Nairobi School for Boys, there was Lenana, there were all those schools.
Okay.
But the school I knew, my school, Nairobi Girls. And I loved it. It was a great upgrade from the schools I'd been to.
Okay.
Not just the infrastructure, the food, the organization, everything. The A-level classes were for 2 Form 5s and 2 Form 6. So I come to Form 5, we are a total of 37 students, divided into 2 classes. And I find the teachers' approach more open. You can ask questions, you can discuss. Teachers are friendly, you know?
The teaching style is different.
It's totally different. And I really liked it.
Okay.
And I find other girls.
And from across the country this time?
Yes, and from all schools. When I tell them the school I came from, nobody seemed to have heard it. So someone was teasing me that I came from a bush school. And I tell them a bush school, we are in the same place. You know? Because they hadn't heard of it.
Yeah.
And I developed new friendships. Yeah.
Did you, so what's, okay, then I'll fast forward. Any other member? Well, actually, no, there's something you said. You said you left school. Or was it a midterm, a closing
We
day?
would be given exits. We were able, our class, that's the joint class, the 2 classes of Form 5.
Yeah.
The Form 5 class, we were something. We negotiated with the teachers, reminded them that those colleagues of ours who were in Form 4, like us, have gone on to teachers' training colleges. Others have gone to work. Nobody is policing them because they are adults. So we shouldn't be punished because we sought to pursue education.
No
we should
way.
be treated as adults and given exit where we sign for ourselves. So they allowed, and we would sign ourselves out every 2 weeks, twice a month. But it would only happen if your parent has approved.
Yes.
Yeah, so we would sign ourselves out, get into town, go to movies, go buy chips, go shopping like I did when I had money, or go visit relatives. I had a cousin who used to stay in Isili.
Yes.
And we used to go with a friend of mine, Ruth Asiachi. We would go, she also had a relative living in Isili, and she knew town a little bit than me. So we would board a bus, alight at St. Teresa's Church, Isili, that was the landmark. And I knew my cousin's house was straight on, and that's it.
Martha, let me ask some questions.
So I'm learning town.
So, first of all, it's mind-blowing that the school, the way you negotiated with the school to get permission to leave.
Yeah.
This is a girls' school.
Yeah.
This is A-levels.
Yeah.
This is a season of life where boys become a question.
Yeah.
For you, this is not, so you're leaving, you see, as much as there's freedom, there's also freedom to mingle with boys.
Negotiations involve all those questions. And we want the teachers to know we came to school because we wanted to study and we have goals, okay? So after assessing us, they agree. The tradition was not maintained beyond our class.
Okay, but
May I tell you that we all successfully finished?
What?
And our class, out of 37, I believe 35 went to university.
Whoa.
We were not a joke. Our record stayed unbroken for years. I don't know whether they've ever been able to beat it. Yeah.
Okay, Mercy.
And only one girl went home because of pregnancy, and she came already pregnant. She went the first time. When they normally do the checkup, the medical checkup, she was found to be pregnant. Meaning she came with the pregnancy from the 3 months break before you attend Form 5. Yeah.
Okay,
we
but
finished
for
successfully.
you,
Yeah.
are you trying to tell me that you had so focused on getting into this judge position that you blocked out relationships?
Relationships did not count. Yeah. And we were young. At 16, what relationships really?
At 16, I was in a different realm.
You are a different age group.
Yes.
Do you know now children of 12 are talking of having a crush? We did not grow in that age. So I am not saying that those things didn't occur.
I get.
Especially if we didn't go to school and we were in the village. You could be married even at that age.
Okay.
And you can see that I'm saying one of our classmates left school because they were not allowing girls to continue once you get pregnant. And I'd been drilled that if you let boys break your leg, as they were calling it, you know, that will be the end of you. Yeah. So if you are pursuing, I was very, very focused on my pursuit. And I believe my classmates were, not just me, because of the rate with which we went to university. We transitioned almost the entire class.
Okay. Okay, let's then talk about the transition. Let's move a bit faster then onto this thing. So you were there for 2 years.
Yeah.
During those 2 years, during your midterms, were you going back home?
No, I was going to my cousins, Wilfred's in Isili. Yeah.
Okay, so you'd only go home in the long holidays?
I would go home long holidays, and I would take the OTC. Overseas Trading Company. There were these buses that were called OTCs. Yes. And they used to go with, they had a timetable. So you know the times it will be leaving for certain destinations.
Yeah.
So you go to the OTC bus stop, which was near the country bus stop, but the OTC comes first. So I would book a bus, and I remember going to Kirinyaga was 27 shillings. So I would book my bus, and I would have a very comfortable ride. They were never oversubscribed, and there were no standing passengers. You just go slowly. You stop at Maragua. You stop, so many stops.
Yes.
And those days we could buy boiled eggs on the way. These days you can't know whose eggs you are eating. You can't. And roast maize, and samosa. You know, people were trustworthy. They made good things. Yeah.
There's, you know, you said something, but I want people to understand the context.
Yeah.
We have to contextualize the time in which you are making this transition.
Yeah.
How many universities were there in Kenya?
One, the University of Nairobi, and it came to be when? It came after the oldest university was Makerere, then Dar es Salaam, then Nairobi.
Oh, Governor.
Okay, so Nairobi was the third university in East Africa.
Yes.
And the only university in Kenya. The total population of Nairobi University around the time I went was roughly 3,000.
From the whole country?
From the whole country. And it had a constituent college, Kenyatta. But the university was one. So total population 3,000. When I say not many people went on to higher education, A-levels and university, you can see.
I can see.
Although the population was much lower.
Yeah.
So Like I remember when I was admitted to university, the fame went the whole location and beyond that Karua's daughter is going to study for a degree. A degree was an animal that was not common.
Were you the first in your family?
Yeah, I'm a second born, so.
But then,
after that,
even your parents didn't go to university. You are the first.
I am telling you,
yes.
you are doing ALevels with my father, then you are asking.
Wow. So did you decide when you're in Nairobi Girls at the time?
Yeah.
Have you looked and decided and said, I'm going with the intent to study law?
Yes.
And
I told you that,
that
from primary, I am focusing on law. So when I'm studying at home after expulsion, I'm focused on law. I'm going to ALevels to be able to do law. When I'm in ALevels, I have been told that law is very competitive. So I'm studying with a focus that my first choice, which will be law, I want to be admitted. So I'm keeping the faith and the focus. Yeah, I'm not dropping the ball.
And you get, was it called at the time or was it printed in the papers?
Yes. ALevels was printed on the papers. So when the exam came out and I'm teaching in a nearby school, Mugumo Secondary School this time, I find my father at lunchtime with a newspaper and he has underlined my name. And there I am with my 2 A's and a base and I'm good.